Hi everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm bringing you a review of the Pat McGrath Labs Moonlit Seduction eyeshadow palettes. Since so many people keep talking about these palettes, I wanted to see whether it was worth the price, so I picked this up on sale. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. But for now, if you are new here, then hi, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you found it. I upload beauty videos every single week and I would love it if you subscribed. But for now, if you want to see my review on the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction eyeshadow palette, then please keep watching. So, like I said, here I am holding an eyeshadow palette that retails for 130 euros. That is a crazy price to think about an eyeshadow palette. I showed you guys this in a recent haul and I already mentioned there I did not pay 130 euros for this palette. So basically Pat McGrath had a 30% off sale a while ago and the Mothership geos were included. So basically she had this deal going on where two motherships were I think 160 euros, which was honestly still so expensive for two eyeshadow palettes. But one of my friends told me that she actually really wanted to get this palette and I had been looking at it as well. Taylor Swift had recently worn it to the VMAs and ever since I was like, I really want that eyeshadow palette, but I mean it's very expensive. Then she actually found another 10% code that's stacked on top, which basically made one of these palettes 72 euros. I think that is the lowest price you're ever going to get a Pat McGrath Mothership for, let alone the newest one, because this is the one that launched this year. So I was like, let's just get it and try it out because I always wanted to try out Pat McGrath on my channel. I only have one other palette from Pat McGrath, which is a smaller one, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on a Mothership palette like this and tell you whether it was worth the price. So I picked this up and I'm now going to show you what it looks like. So it comes in this very luxurious packaging and then here we have the actual eyeshadow palette. Shade names are in the little box right here and here we have the palette. It is actually quite heavy. I was quite surprised by that. Now it says that this palette is made in Italy and it has a 18-month shelf life, and just holding this palette already feels a little bit special. So I just want to swatch these shades with you guys so you can see what they look like. So maybe I'm just going to move to the side right here. So the first shade I want to swatch is this shimmer at the very left side of the palette, and this is more of like a lighter shimmer, and I'm just going to swatch it right there. I'll show you the swatches up close in a little bit, but this is sort of like a cream shimmer with a bit of a pinky undertone to it. Then we have this shade right here, which is a matte burgundy. That swatch is really nice actually. We then have this shimmer right here, which looks a little bit more of a silver shimmer. That looks absolutely beautiful. Then we have this duochrome shade. It looks a little bit purple, but it shifts from like red to blue. It looks really, really special. And then the last shade for the top row is this beautiful gold right here. These shades swatch amazing. Let me show you the top row. So this is what the top row looks like swatch. I hope you can sort of tell my lights are quite bright. So now on to the bottom row of this palette. First we have this very deep, it's almost a black. That swatch is really nice as well. I'm quite impressed by that. Then we have a little bit more of a smooth shimmer. I don't think this is really one of the special shades. It's just like sort of like a bronze shimmer. So I just turned down the brightness of my ring lights a lot so you can really see what the shades look like. I'm very impressed by the swatches of this palette. So as you can see, that is what the shades look like swatch. I'm very impressed by the swatches. I think they all look beautiful. And I'm excited to show you guys what this is actually going to perform like on the eye. So let's just get started and show you sort of like the tutorial and how I created this look and my final thoughts on this palette. I hope this is in focus. Like I'm testing out a new setup with my camera. I'm sort of like having fun figuring out my camera. Even though I've had it for more than a year, I'm still like learning new things. So if some things doesn't go exactly as planned or things are maybe like not as in focus, then that is fine. So the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction just comes in this black packaging. I believe all the motherships do come in this like sleek, glossy black packaging. The back is gold. I believe they all have this as well. And this is what the palette looks like when it's opened up. I hope this is not going to be too bright. Again, with my lights as well, I'm still figuring out like the best ways to use my lights and to have products as clear as possible on the screen. But as you can see, we have a beautiful tin pen eyeshadow palette right here. We have a mix of mattes and shimmers. And as you can see, most of the shades in this palette actually are shimmers. We have a couple of mattes, but most of them are shimmers. Now, I did already try this out one time. So technically Technically, it isn't like a true first impression, but it was only like a quick look I did for when I went to work. So I think I'm going to try to do sort of like a similar look as the look I did then, because I did really like it. But I do want to try out some more of these like shimmery shades. You already have seen some swatches in the intro portion of this video. I will have the timestamps down below if you want to like go back and rewatch the swatch application. So already the first downside of this palette, the shade names are not on the back of the palette. They're in the different box, which it's a little bit annoying. But I'm actually going to start off with this matte right here. So I'm actually just going to take this on this blending brush, top off some excess, and then just apply this pretty much in the crease. Now I do have hooded eyes, so I never really do super spectacular eye looks. I just like to do eye looks that sort of like enhance my eyes a little bit. I always have a little bit less of like space to work with, but just blending this out throughout the crease. And this is like a beautiful sort of like muted rosy color, I would describe it like that. It is really pretty, it does blend out as well, and it is quite pigmented. What I then like to do is take a big clean fluffy brush like this one, and I'm just going to go over basically the top of the blend that we just did. Now this is the lightest shade from the palette. Normally I would like if there's like one lighter matte to sort of like make the transition, but since this is the lightest shade in here, I feel like using a clean brush to go over the edges is going to help smooth it out a little bit as well. I'm then going to take this teeny tiny packing brush, and the thing you want to do if you have hooded eyes and usually like a smaller lid space, take smaller eyeshadow brushes. I only take big brushes if I'm like really blending something out like the brush I just used, but for packing on eyeshadow in sort of like a precise line, I like using these like smaller brushes. This one is the Peaches and Cream PC20, but I'm sure a lot of brands will have similar brushes. So I'm going to go in this purple shade right here, and I'm just basically going to deepen up the outer corners with this shade. And basically I'm applying this in a bit of a diagonal line. I'm not blending it out yet, I'm just packing it on like the places where I want the eyeshadow to be. I am now just going to blend this out using that same blending brush that we used. I'm taking a little bit of that first shade, taking that blending brush again, I'm going to go over all of this. So far, they're blending out okay, to be honest. I did expect them to blend a little bit more easily. It looks fine, but so far I feel like they're just normal matte. I don't really am noticing like a major difference compared to like a 30 or 40 euro eyeshadow palette, considering these are around 130 euros. I don't know the exact price, but they're definitely expensive. They're not blending as easily as I would have hoped for that price. I am now going to be using the excess that is still on my brush, and I'm going to be adding this to the lower lash line. I'm slightly dipping in the shades again for the other eye. And now I am a little scared since the shade didn't blend out as easily, but I want to try and see if we can use this deep shade right here, because I just want to use as many shades as possible. Very curious to see what this is going to be performing like on the eye. And then taking this tiny clean blending brush, taking a little bit of that first shade, and then taking this side of the brush, I'm going to go in that lightest matte shade one more time. So I'm not really sure what to think about this eye look. I don't think it looks really that good, to be honest. A little bit disappointed in the matte. I think it is also because there is no lighter transition shade in this palette. Normally I would prefer like pretty much a white in here to really create an even canvas for my eyeshadow, and then maybe like a lighter pink or neutral color to sort of like be able to create a transition, because especially with hooded eyes, you can see now when you go in with a pretty deep shade at the beginning, it's getting a little bit hard to blend out, mainly because things just gather in the creases. You could really see that with that black shade. It didn't really want to blend. Like I said, I have it with a lot of eyeshadow palettes, but for instance my Vive palette that I recently tested out, the mattes blended out really easily and I was so surprised by that palette, and that was like around 50 euros. So considering this palette is more than 2 times as expensive, I would have expected the mattes to work a little bit better on my hooded eyes. I don't really do a lot of eyeshadow tutorials simply because I know I don't have like the best eye shape for like eyeshadow tutorials, but still I know a lot of you guys may have hooded eyes as well. I think I want to use this rose gold right here because it looks beautiful, and the Pat McGrath shimmers are really special. It's absolutely stunning, and I'm just going to press it on the eyelid. So this shimmer is beautiful. It definitely saved the eye look a little bit. Like the shimmer is a little bit more the center of attention now, and I do really like how this turns out. This is a look I would totally like wear on an everyday basis. I feel like it's still very wearable while still looking cute. Like I said, the matte isn't like the best blend, but I feel like now that we have the shimmer on, I feel like it looks really nice. But right now I'm just going to apply a little bit of mascara, apply some lipstick as well, and then I'll be back to share my final thoughts and tell you whether I would recommend the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction eyeshadow palette. So here I am, I'm back. I applied some mascara, lipstick, did my hair a little bit prettier, and this is what the finished look turned out like. I just filmed these swatches. You already saw them in the introduction, but I actually just filmed them after I did the eyeshadow look. So since I did the eye look before doing the swatches, I'm honestly quite surprised by how well these matte shades swatch. As you can see in the like tutorial portion, they just weren't the easiest to blend out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the shades, but for an eyeshadow palette this price, I just expected a little bit more. I have tried better mattes for this price. Now the shimmers on the other hand, I'm sort of like blown away by. I think the shimmer shade really saved this eye look, and also looking at the other swatches. I'm holding a wet towel to wash these swatches off, by the way, really random. But looking at these special shimmer shades, they just look beautiful, and I think that is all what this palette is about. So I am just going to keep testing this and see how the other shades perform on my eye, and then I will keep you guys updated in a future video whether I think this Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette is worth it or not, because right now I can't really say it is or it isn't. I would love to know your thoughts as well. What do you think this eye look turned out like? Do you like it? Like, looking in the mirror, I think it is a beautiful eye look. It's just an eye look where I'm wondering, wouldn't I have been able to create this with a more affordable eyeshadow palette? Okay everyone, and this was it for my review on the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction eyeshadow palette. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this eyeshadow palette and this look. If you did enjoy this video, then I would absolutely love it if you gave it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. All of these things would help me so much with my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you have an amazing day, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!